the Natural Health Podcast, where we bring awareness of sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to equip their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Friday, which means it's time for Friends Sharing Facts about health, business, and overall success. In today's episode, we talk to Cinnamon Morrissey, who is a product development and business owner of EveryMite, an allergy-friendly super spread. Cinnamon and her husband have 3 sons. Cinnamon is a professionally trained social worker with no prior business training or experience working in state government for her working career. After having her 3rd child, William, who has Down syndrome, Hershey-Springs disease, and numerous food intolerances, Cinnamon discovered she needed an allergy-friendly, nutritional dense product for William that he could eat safely. Cinnamon knows how difficult it is to have a son with serious food intolerance and gut issues. As such, EveryMite's purpose is to make life easier for people with food allergies or intolerances. EveryMite's motto is to spread us on a smile every day with EveryMite. What a beautiful logo there. And some interesting things about Cinnamon is that she loves cooking and she could cook all day, every day if she could. She absolutely loves the beach. It's her favorite place to be. And she's also the 1% of the population that has had breast cancer twice in the same breast. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, Cinnamon.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I really appreciate it.
We are so excited to have you here. Tell us your best meal. What is a meal that you cooked recently or something that you absolutely love getting in the kitchen and cooking?
Oh, God, I love everything. So we're basically into everything has to be as clean as possible. So we generally have a lot of different salads with meat or veggies with meat. We do the classic bean nachos, frequently, and as many different veggie dishes as we can. But a lot of our cooking at the moment is me experimenting with all my new products. So everything's got a different taste on it. Everything's got a different product, and we're just trying so many different things at the moment.
Amazing. I love it. I'll just get you to put your microphone a little bit closer so we can hear your beautiful stories that you've got to share with us.
Okay.
That's better.
Can
That's
you
amazing.
hear me better now?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
100%.
fab.
But, before we get into all these food intolerances and so many other things and your amazing products, let's find out about you, right? Even in the bio, as I introduced you, you've had no prior business experience. You've had breast cancer. You've got a son who's got Down syndrome and so forth. Tell us the key turning points that have occurred in your life that got you to where you are now.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so my key turning point was at 38 years old. So, I'm going through life. I work full-time for the government, like you said. My husband was a soldier full-time. So we'd worked, we'd raised children, suddenly thought I was going through menopause, had a surprise pregnancy. And when our oldest boys were 18 and 15, we had another child. So at 38 years old, I thought I'd done everything. I thought I'd sort of seen everything. I knew what I was doing with kids. I knew what I was doing with, my career and my life. And then suddenly I had a child with a disability. So, yeah, that was a massive, massive thing for me. We had, I trained in child protection. I'd worked in child protection. I worked with families my whole life, worked with people with disabilities. When we then had a child with a disability, it was so different to what I could ever imagined and so much harder and so much complex. And the work associated with having to learn about that, that's what sparked a complete life change and change in our journey for me and our whole family, to be honest with you.
Yeah, wow. That's absolutely beautiful. What a blessing. What an absolute blessing.
Oh, he's so beautiful, Mihaela. He's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, he's so beautiful.
Yeah, what an absolute blessing. And it's interesting that you said it kind of came out of nowhere and it was meant to be that way. And it sparked your journey through all this. And I mean, you wouldn't be here where you are now if all that didn't occur, right?
No, completely. Yeah, it completely changed our life. Not that there was anything wrong with our life beforehand, but and not that there is now either, but it's just a completely different journey. And, like having a child with a disability, you have to learn about what does their body need? What are their risk factors? How does their brain work? So we had to learn about, different things around Alzheimer's, for example, had to learn about different things around how does your body work and what does it need in order to thrive the best. I would not have started EveryMite, and I would not have been a food manufacturer if at 38 years old I didn't have that surprise pregnancy and a surprise child where he had a surprise diagnosis of all these complex issues. So that's what's brought me here today.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. That's awesome that you've got such these key turning points that have occurred to get you to now to be a successful business individual that's changing food here in Australia, overall, which is so amazing, and providing such amazing products that we're going to talk about later on. So I guess that is the reason why and how EveryMite kind of grew and came about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, before all this happened, I guess health would have looked different to you. You said you worked full time, your husband was a soldier. Health and success overall would have looked differently before all this. But what does it look like for Cinnamon right now? What does success and optimal health look like for you?
You're right, completely different to what it used to look like. So, I always thought we were healthy, always thought we were on track, always, no major issues. And you reevaluate everything and everything changes when things happen. So what is success for me? So success is for when I make a difference. Success is when I'm balanced. Success is when I'm happy and functioning. And success is when I'm able. So for me, the driver with EveryMite and the driver with the business, because it's, being a small business owner is so incredibly challenging. But to hear people say to me, EveryMite has made a difference in my life. Thank you so much for creating it. That is success for me, when I'm actually able to balance my life, when I'm actually able to, when we're, happy and functioning and my family's happy and functioning, that's success. When I'm then able, so, talking then about, that, lifestyle stuff, but then the career side of it, we don't start a business for free. It costs a lot of money, and the end goal is that you actually will benefit from it financially, So success for me along that side is then being able to purchase the things that I need for myself and my family. So that's success for me. Don't need to be a millionaire, don't need to be the healthiest person in the world, don't need to be the happiest, just need to be able and need to be productive and useful as well, so because that's a massive driver for me. In terms of a question around optimal health. So for me, that's a tricky one. Given the fact that, I've had cancer twice, I've had a child with a disability, clearly my body hasn't been at an optimal health balance range, for those things to happen. So, like most mothers, I really do struggle in terms of self-care and struggle in terms of balancing that out, and that's why I sort of say success for me is around achieving that balance as well, because that's an important thing I'm always striving for. Optimal health for me and when I'm looking at it is around, the whole of body functioning, the whole of brain functioning. I think everybody's journey is so different. So, now that I've I guess I just didn't realise beforehand. You sort of go through life knowing that we have complex bodies, knowing that we need nutrients, knowing these things, but not really understanding it. And then when you really actually see the impact of the basic things that people take for granted and what it can do to your body, when your body doesn't function properly, it's just mind-blowing. Like for us, we because we're holistic, so we have for our son, we have a paediatrician. So, but then we also have a chiropractor. We also have a naturopath. We also have an acupuncturist. We have an integrated doctor. So we look at it as a whole for him and get advice from everyone. So we've always worked out, for his optimal health, what does he need? So his body doesn't work properly. He doesn't detoxify properly. So we've had to work things around that for him. His body doesn't naturally make glutathione enough. It doesn't naturally make enough vitamins. It doesn't naturally absorb enough stuff. So we've had to then tailor his life and his health around compounded creams and liposonal sprays to then assist his body. We've also then had to look at long-term factors. So long-term, his brain, he's at high risk of getting Alzheimer's and dementia, and because his brain will degenerate because it doesn't, there is issues there. So then, what do we need to do then for optimal health? What do we need to do to try and work towards preventing that? So then we look at, what are the risk factors for degeneration of the brain, and we look at minimising those in his life and in all our life as a result. So for us, optimal health is extremely complicated. We don't always get it right, and it's completely different I truly believe it is different for each person.
Yeah, 100%. And you've put in there, success means, assisting others and helping others, which I love. And optimal health, you've touched upon so many different aspects. You've spoken about chiropractor, naturopath, nutritionist, integrative doctor, and so forth. So it's kind of like what you're trying to put out there is a whole picture of like optimal health is a whole wheel. It's like a whole wheel of certain things. And if you touch upon most of them, you'll be able to understand what optimal health is for you as an individual, because every individual is different. For optimal health, like for you or for your son or for your husband or for your other kids, may look different depending on what is happening. So absolutely love that description of it. I'm so excited. Let's talk about today's topic, which I'm so excited about, overcoming food intolerances with EveryMite. Tell us why EveryMite and how you found the need for EveryMite in the market. I've tried it. I absolutely love it. I think it's an absolutely brilliant product. And for the audience who hasn't tried it, you've got to get your hands on it. And your kids will love it. You'll probably love it. So why was this brought to the market, and how did you find the need for it?
Well, like I said, we always thought we were healthy. We had, balanced diet, always tried to have clean products. Didn't really understand. So we, like everybody else in Australia, we're eating Vegemite as one of our daily needs, which it is when you're growing up on it, And so basically, when our son was born, and it's been a journey in terms of like understanding his needs as well. So he was terribly sick. He ended up having undiagnosed Hirschsprung, which means that his bowels didn't form in the womb properly. But we didn't know that until late last year. So he was constantly sick. We didn't know what was wrong. He was having digestive issues. We employed, we went to integrated doctors. We had a naturopath. We did all his food intolerance testing. So originally they said to us, he just needs to be dairy gluten-free. And we're like, well, he's already been dairy-free anyway. We'll look at everything and get out all the gluten. Making lots of different mistakes along the way, but, trying our best. We still couldn't get any better. We then, did all the food intolerance testing. We discovered that he actually couldn't eat at the start. There were so many things he couldn't eat. So he couldn't have any eggs. He couldn't have nuts. He couldn't have soy. he couldn't have.
I'll just get you to put the mic a bit closer just
Oh,
so we can
sorry.
hear you a bit better. That's all right. All good. There you go.
I apologise to everybody today. Okay, cool. This is just the real me. So he couldn't have eggs, he couldn't have gluten, he couldn't have nuts, he couldn't have soy, he couldn't have anything, he couldn't have legumes, he couldn't have anything in the melon group, couldn't have anything in the potato group, couldn't have any yeast. And once we'd established the, MTHFR, he couldn't have any synthetic folic acid, which, is an issue in reference to prenatal and Down syndrome, actually. So there's a link there as well. So we actually learnt that the ingredients in Vegemite he couldn't eat for his body. That was the last thing we were still eating. So it was the one thing I could easily swap over everything else. I could not work out how to swap over Vegemite, and we were still eating it. And because it didn't work for his body, that needed to change. So basically, me being me, I was like, no, okay, my child, I know, I raised other kids, so I knew that as life goes on and kids go to school and they, become part of the peer group, become part of, the bigger society, it's very tempting in terms of like soft drinks, processed food, all that sort of stuff. So I knew that anything I wanted my child to eat, it needed to be similar to what was out there when I was trying to replace, and it needed to be good for his body and healthy. So, I did lots of things. Like I did different breads. I did, different muesli bars that he could eat was safe, different drinks in preparation for thinking that he was going to get older. I spent years going back and forth. So I went to supermarkets to start with. There was no alternative that he could eat. I went to health food stores. There actually, again, was no alternative he could eat. So at the time, there was a couple out there. One of them, I think they're both gone from market now. So one of them was a fish-based one, I think. So I just went back and forth from my health food store for about 3 years. Made at first quite disgusting recipe that only my son and I would eat. It took our kids and my husband about a year or so to actually even try it, because when they first tried it, they were like, yuck, that's disgusting. And so, yeah, I know. And so it took them a year to then try it. And so basically got it right. And I went, well, we need this. Who else needs it? So I asked my friends, I asked people in the organic community that I was with, I asked people in the Down syndrome community, I went to my local community and I said, we've got this issue where, we can't eat this one product because it's impacting on us. Does anybody have the same thing? Does anybody else need an alternative? I've made this alternative. Do you want to try it? So I actually did quite a bit of research and development, like years worth, and tested it. I asked people, what they liked, what they didn't like, what they think they'd pay, what they wouldn't pay, what they needed. No experience whatsoever. Hold on, I've made myself notes because I will ramble otherwise. So let me just have a look at this. Yes. So basically, yes, that was it. I started it from scratch like that. Decided to take the plunge and take it to the market. I was very careful in that I spent thousands getting food testing, spent thousands getting advice, getting legal things sorted, because I wasn't a chef and I wasn't a food a nutritionist or anything. And I had to make sure I wasn't going to hurt anybody and harm anybody. So that was like my because the whole point was about actually helping others. And then I made sure that when I actually got it into stores, I did every single tasting. So I started with one product. I got feedback from every single person that went into the store. I listened to what they wanted, and then I actually ended up developing 3 more based on that. Actually, 3 more based on that. So a lot of it was a lot of trial and error, just really trying and knowing that it was something that made a difference to us, so other people would need it too.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're like, because a lot of people make things at home and go, okay, cool, that's it, and then just use it themselves. But you're like, you know what? There's other people out there that may need this also. Let me call out, let me hear out if anyone else needs it. And that's absolutely amazing. And like you said, you're not a chef. You haven't done this before. This is something totally new for you. So you're just kind of like, I want to get this out there. How do I do it? Let's get advice. Let's pay the legal team. Let's do this. Let's do that. Product development. And you got it in a jar and put the sticker on it. That would have been absolutely exciting.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah. That would the first sticker on would have been like, I don't even know if you probably still have that jar. I would have kept the jar.
I do.
Oh, you do. There you go.
Yeah. I made the stickers. I made and designed the stickers at first myself. Seriously, that was so daddy. But I got it into stores.
Yeah.
I got it. I got people knowing it, and I got it out there. And I've changed it. I've actually changed it 4 times, I think, since then as well.
Yeah.
Changed labels, changed jars. Haven't changed the recipe.
Yeah.
But I have a professional manufacturer that makes something out by hand still, and he makes it a lot better than I do.
Yeah, amazing. That's so awesome. I love that. I love that you found the need for such an amazing product in the market, which came out of food intolerances. Because a lot of us, sometimes we have a food that we absolutely love, and then we go see a nutritionist or a naturopath or integrated doctor or whoever, and they're like, okay, you got to cut it out. This isn't good. And then what do you do? And if it's your favorite food, what do? You kind of look for an alternative, and that's what you've provided people with. So what is it like navigating food intolerances with your child overall? Like, what is it like navigating it? I mean, it would be like a trial and an error. And tell me a bit more about it.
Oh, Mahela, it is the most challenging thing I've ever done. Most stressful thing, most challenging thing, and it's so much more complicated than you would imagine. And there are so many more people that are suffering from similar issues to us. Like, I had no idea how much a food intolerance can impact on a person. And I had no idea how many people were going through food intolerances. Like, it was just, it's an absolute minefield. I've spent years and years studying at uni, 8+ years at uni, spent my whole life working with children and families, knew that if you had a bad, if you had the wrong food, it might make your tummy feel sick. I knew that there was people that were highly allergic to food as well. So, but, I didn't actually realise how significant it was. So, when we had our boy, and again, just trial and error, we'd go away and we'd be like, or we'd go out to dinner and be like, oh God, there's no gluten-free pizza here. It's just going to be a little bit of cheese on it, So making those mistakes and having, it's okay, just have a little piece of pizza. That's not gluten-free. Try this. Have that. And then realising with one bite of something, he then couldn't go to the toilet for a week. So we found the issue for our child, they're different for everybody, but, if he had, dairy, he couldn't have any sort of animal product at first in terms of dairy-based stuff. So we can have camel milk now, so we use camel milk, which is just amazing. But, that would give him quite significant diarrhoea. If he had a little bit of gluten, his whole system would just shut down and he couldn't go to the toilet for a week or more. If we gave him, at one stage, we were, seeing all the doctors all the time, and I'm just like, I can't work out what's going wrong. I gave him a bit of sugar, so he literally, his body was so bad he couldn't even convert sugars in his system. So if he'd have a bite of anything that was higher sugar than an apple or some berries. So, we couldn't do rice, we couldn't do carbs, couldn't do any other fruits. He'd get severe candida in his bowels, severe candida, where his stomach was out here, He had to go on medication. And it was like, and I'd say to the doctor, it was just a bite of, it was like a little slice of mandarin, for example. I didn't realise it would happen. He had a bite of the banana. And the doctor's like, we can't convert sugars. I've told you this, And so we've made so many mistakes, but we've seen so significantly the impact that a little mistake can have on a body that actually doesn't work properly. We've built his body up where he successfully functions now majority of the time, which is really, really good, particularly given the fact that he's got Hirschsprungs. So, it's a big journey with lots and lots of hills down, lots of hills up, but then you take another hill down, and you go up again, take another hill down.
Yeah, so it would be a total roller coaster dealing with a kid who has food intolerances, and like you said, even just going to a cafe or a pizza place and them not having gluten-free pizzas, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe you can just have a little bit, and you saw the effects that little bit has on him.
I would have had no idea, people get a sore tummy. Actually, people don't just get a sore tummy. It actually can cause significant issues to your digestive system. It can cause inflammation if it's the wrong food for you. We actually learn these things as we delve into it further and actually realise how complex it is. So, it's expensive because you're trying to continually create and make things that your child can safely eat. He's been nonverbal for quite some time. So then trying to understand if he likes it, if it hurts his tummy, if it failed, and I've just thrown out, a heap of time and money with food that I've made, and then, it's expensive, time consuming, but it's also isolating. So what I've learned is people that have food intolerances become isolated because it's so hard to go out and it's so hard to do anything because there's generally so many things that are unsafe for people to eat that it's just not worth it. So you become isolated, you become depressed, you become nutrient deficient because you don't know what you can safely eat. So you've got like a small list of things that you can actually safely eat that then don't give you enough nutrients. So it's really, really challenging, and there are a significant amount of people that are going through very similar journeys. And it's really, really quite challenging.
Yeah, I'm so glad you touched upon the fact of isolation for food intolerances. And we're not just talking about, now, thank God, things have moved a bit better with gluten and dairy and so forth. But there's so many other things people may not be able to have. Something as simple as oranges. Some people may absolutely not be able to have oranges. Some people may not absolutely have a little bit of MSG. So there goes most Asian places out of the system. There's so many things that some individuals may not be able to have, and therefore they have to go, oh, I'm not going to go. Where are you going out for dinner? You're going there. I can't go. So they isolate themselves. And there goes that social interaction. And we know how important social interaction is for our overall health. So I'm so glad you touched upon that point of don't isolate yourself.
Yeah. It's so common, and it's part of what people do. And that's why just having some products out there that can make a difference that, honestly, we would take our EveryMite with us everywhere. It sounds ridiculous, but
I love it.
At first when we were at first when we were negotiating all this, I would always have, and a lot of places wouldn't then wouldn't let us cook our gluten-free toast. So he could only even have certain gluten-free toast because he couldn't eat nuts. He couldn't eat, rice. So, I had this, and I had the gluten-free bread that I made him everywhere we went as little snacks because it's so hard, and it's so isolating for so many people.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the ingredients. So we know that certain ingredients, certain products can affect our health. what can be done about this besides the fact of going out and making your own product like you did? What can other people do if they can't have certain ingredients in certain products? Like your son couldn't have some ingredients in Vegemite, unfortunately. But what about other things? Like, I guess the first thing would be for people to actually read the ingredients of things that they're eating if they have the opportunity to do that. But what else can people do? You having experience firsthand.
And that's actually exactly what I was going to say. So, yeah. Like, we all know that nutrient-dense, whole food, low tox, we know we need all these things, but understanding it all is such a different, having time to stop and consciously look at labels and then consciously understand what on earth these things mean, and then understand why you shouldn't have them. That's a massive journey in itself. You don't need to go and create every product you need. You need to be able to, you're right, spend the time to consciously even just say, I'm going to look at 2 of the ingredients in my cupboard. I'm going to understand what these are and see what else is out there if I don't like some of the things that are in it. So that's, one of the big things.
So right, reading labels is absolutely key. And like you said, even educating yourself on, one of those ingredients that may be in one of your favorite spreads or one of your favorite foods or whatever you're eating. What is it? Where does it come from? Where is it made? I always suggest people contacting the company themselves. And I'm pretty sure you're open with people contacting you and asking you, hey, Cinnamon, these ingredients, where do you source them from? Where are they from? And I think that's absolutely beneficial, because if you love one of your foods and you're eating it every day, contact the person that made it. They'll love it, right? They'll absolutely love it, or the company, and find out about the ingredients, find out about what's in it and where it's sourced from.
I absolutely agree with you. Yep, absolutely agree. Because we don't do it often enough. And people that put the time and energy and the love into products that they make love talking about them. Like, I love getting an email. I love someone ringing me and asking me. And I've been so challenged at times too, when I've gone, wow, I didn't think about that question. I'll have a look and see, So, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Especially in the health food industry, like we question everything, don't we? And it's so important to do it, because that's how we learn.
100%. So tell us, now that we're on that topic, tell us about the ingredients in EveryMite. Tell us about the ingredients and tell us what made you put it in there. Why those ingredients? What are they?
Okay. So again, I'm talking about my favorite thing here. So
go on.
So basically, remember, I made this product for my child, so it had to be the best quality ingredients. It had to be as nutrient dense as possible. It had to be as clean as possible. It had to, have no additives in it, had to have nothing synthetic in it. So the ingredients have never changed. Where I've sourced them from, who I use, so, who I deal with, because relationships are really important for me. I've kept all the same ingredients, all the same suppliers, and all the same process, where it's all handmade still, so we can watch it all. And on top of that, I've made sure that we don't heat the goodness out. So an important thing that happens frequently, because people don't realise, is that they will heat ingredients and it'll actually damage the key ingredient. So damage the oil, make it rancid. Damage the probiotics in something and them non-existent. Damage the vitamins and minerals in something because it's been heated so high that it's the whole consistencies have changed. So in EveryMite, we've got black sesame seeds. The reason we have black sesame seeds is for it to be black, quite frankly. I needed it black, and sesame seeds are so good for you. they're such a good wholesome, nutrient dense ingredient. So black sesame seeds, coconut aminos. So coconut aminos have all your amino acids. So they're really, really important. It's a fermented product. So, that's a tick for us. It's a sustainably sourced product where we buy it from a company that is not for profit and gives back to the Solomons. So it's a really good enterprise at the same time. So black sesame seeds, coconut aminos, the apple cider vinegar with the mother. Again, I've always sourced it from one place because I know the quality is good. It's always got the mother in it so I can always see that. That's got your B's and C's. That's got so many, good nutrients and, again, fermented. And then I only use pure salt. So I use Himalayan pink salt or I use pure Australian sea salt. So the ingredients mix, the different jars have different salts in them. So, So I made sure that, it was safe for people that couldn't have yeast. I made sure it was safe for, people that, weren't having, synthetic folic acid or synthetic vitamins, made sure it was soy-free. So lots of people that I discovered through my journey. So lots of people that discover they can't eat Vegemite go to miso. And that was one of the things we did. But then we discovered we couldn't have soy either. So, so therefore I had to then look at, God, can't have this, can't have that. So that's the ingredients and that's why they're so special. So legally, I'm actually not allowed to say that EveryMite's for everybody because it's not. But that was the whole purpose of it. The whole purpose of it was to make a product that literally almost everybody could eat because it was just so clean. And so that was the whole thing around it, the whole concept, which hence why I called it EveryMite because I wanted it to be something that everybody could eat.
Yeah, I love the name. I love the ingredients. And there's so many benefits from those ingredients in there that benefit our whole body. Salt, sesame seeds, the apple cider vinegar, the coconut aminos, like absolutely amazing. Like I love it. I love the combination of it all. And it tastes awesome compared to your first one, I guess. I haven't tried your first one, but from what you said. It wasn't
that bad, but it wasn't that good.
No, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's black. And for children, that's the best thing because it's kind of like
black and salty.
Yeah. That's
black and salty, same consistency. But if you do want something different because you can't have something in it, that's why it's around. And honestly, like EveryMite is really high in salt as well, and I've made different versions with lower salt based on different people's needs. But I had naturopaths, and I still have naturopaths that will only recommend the original, the highest 100%. Salt. EveryMite, because it's good salt, and majority of people are magnesium deficient, and you actually need the good salts. So I was actually going to say the issue is not the salt. The issue is the type of salt that's put into processed foods. The salt, the Himalayan salt and things like that have other minerals that come, and the sea salt have other minerals that come with it. But also most of us are walking around salt deficient. And I could do a whole episode on that, and I probably will. Probably that's a good idea. I'll do a whole episode of how salt deficient we actually are. We've put such a bad name on salt when actually we need salt to live, to survive, to walk, to talk, to think. And so many people don't realise that, do they? Like so many people are like, no, can't have salt. It's bad for me. Literally, like I was at my naturopath last week and, she's like, stick your tongue out. Have you had enough to drink? What have you been doing today? You need more salt. So I'm prescribing you more salt. And I was like, yep, you're right. I haven't been drinking enough. I haven't had enough.
I love it.
The prescription was salt, like
100%. And the thing is we shouldn't have table salt or salt in processed things.
Absolutely.
And it also depends on the individual, what they've got going on. But you're so right. Different types of salt. So don't be, clearly talk to your healthcare professional or whatever, but don't be scared of the salt that's in EveryMite, because actually may give you benefits to an extent. And it tastes awesome, right? I love it.
It's such a unique taste.
Yeah. So you've got, so how many, so is it 3 products? So you've got the original, you've got the baby one, you've got the low salt one. Is that right? Them 3?
I've got the original, which is, original. I've got the FODMAP.
Okay.
I've then got the low salt.
What's the difference of the FODMAP? What's that?
So this was all based on, so I had the yellow one first, original. People said to me, I can't have that much salt. So I had some people say that. So I did one with half the amount of salt.
Amazing.
I had some people say to me, the yellow one has a little bit of a little tiny, it's like less than 1.5%, like I think it's like 1.3% or something of raw fermented chili, garlic and onion in the aminos that I use. And I had people say to me, oh, I love it, but I can't have chili and garlic because I'm not having nightshades. Yeah. And even though it's only the tiniest amount, and I actually legally didn't even need to disclose it. So interestingly, one thing I've learned as a food manufacturer as well, if there's only a certain amount in it, you don't need to disclose it. But I was like, well, no, I am going to disclose it because people need to be able to make informed decisions, and that's what this is all about. So then I made one that had naked aminos in it, so no chili and garlic, even if it's the tiniest bit. So that's the FODMAP one. And so then, then we've got then the EveryMite, which has got a really, really low salt content, and it's FODMAP friendly. So that's a lot sweeter because I found that babies had more of a sweeter palate. And then we're then bringing out one called in mushroom. So it's going to have wild shiitake in it. Yeah, because we love our mushrooms. And so we thought, well, lots of people can't get, like, what can't you get into your kids? So a lot of when I'm thinking about stuff for my child, I'm always thinking about what nutrients does he need? How can I make this more nutrient rich for him? And, a lot of kids won't eat certain things. So that's why we're doing the mushroom. So that's just an extra bonus for people as well.
That's absolutely brilliant. Wow. I love your process of thought. And it's like, anyone who has kids or even anyone who may have food intolerances, it's like, I would actually really love this or really love that, or that used to be my favorite. I hear a lot of people always say, oh, that used to be my favorite, I can't have it anymore. And they don't replace it. But what if you could replace it with something that maybe that your body can withstand now, and it's available out there? Like, what if, like, what an amazing substitute. We're all about substitutes here. I don't like taking things out of people, because sometimes taking things away from people, there's also an emotional connection with some individuals. Like certain types of spreads or certain foods or something like that. It has an emotional connection because it's like, I used to have that when I was a kid. I used to watch cartoons and eat that, and now I can't have it anymore. But what if you could have something similar to it and enjoy it?
And like part of, and I see so many people do it, part of what I would do at first for many years was just walk around the health food store and just look at everything. I love it. And then I'd actually learn about what people had made out there. And I'd go, oh, wow, I've made this, great, but I don't need to make A, B, and C because some other, clever person out there has made that, and it's fantastic. So it's about learning what's out there too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hence why I'm here today. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I guess with this podcast episode, we're here to provide hope for individuals who may have food intolerances and love food, that there is hope out there, and we understand the impact some foods may have to you and may be detrimental, but there are people like Cinnamon out there who are making products that are available to you that you can access quite easily. And I love that it's Australian made. I love supporting Australian businesses. I love supporting Australian small businesses and like-minded individuals.
Thank you.
And the thing is you've gone through it yourself with your child, and then developed this amazing product. How do you balance it all? How do you balance business, children, husband, community? Like, how do you do it?
It's pretty tricky. Well, at the moment, I should be outside but I'm sitting in my office. So there was noise outside today. So I spent a lot of time inside and try to then balance outside as well, which is what we all need to do. Balance. Sometimes I do it well. Sometimes I do it not so well. Like I said before, I'm always going to focus on other people first, which is a bit of a bugger. So trying to then balance that. Because there's things you have to do when you're in business. You spend a lot of time at the computer. You spend, and we all know this, you spend a lot of time trying to work out different things and understand different stuff and pack orders yourself and label things yourself at night time because you're trying to save money. And so we had to, that we had all the things we have to do and we love doing, but then we had to work out how we could manage it better because it wasn't working. So, at first I was working night times and weekends, shift work. My husband was working full time. We were trying to balance that with our life, and it wasn't working. So we actually had to say, okay, how can we do this different to meet our needs? So, we were lucky that we're older parents, and we're lucky that we'd sort of had careers to start with, but we looked at how can we balance our time? How can we have that, garden time to outside time to friend time? Where do we need, how can we minimize, different stresses as well? So, in terms of like streamlining stuff, lots of things are streamlined in order to be able to, minimize, different things that are part of, business and make things easier. And then we focus on, so my goal's always not around stuff. My goal's around lifestyle. So can I sell enough? Can I make enough in order for us to balance our life and be able to go to the beach, because that's, I don't want a fancy car. I don't want this. I don't want that. I actually want to make sure that I'm balancing my life and my family effectively where it's every part of it's meeting our needs. So we changed how we were working so we weren't overworking ourselves. Minimised, a lot of different things, and then did things such as, brought everything into one place. So, like everything, I do a lot of my stuff from home. Then when I'm going out, I'm streamlining that. We have one unit that we go to on the Sunshine Coast. So we balance our life where I actually email everybody and I say, we're going away for the school holidays because I'm a small business owner that still runs my own business and I need balance. So I don't fill orders in this period of time. So I always do that. It's so important. People feel that if they don't do something now and they don't do something now, the world's going to end. If they don't do this, the world's going to end. It's actually not. The world's going to end if you don't have that balance and you don't start reevaluating things to make sure that everything's okay.
Yeah, I love that. You email people and say the orders aren't going to come in because I'm looking after myself and my family, and the product that you love is going to come to you. I promise it will. But this is the balance that these are the boundaries and the balance that I'm putting into place. Yeah, which is so important for small business owners because we kind of don't put boundaries in place and then we get burnt out, and therefore we're unable to provide the services or provide the products that these individuals came to us for. So it's very important for us to look after ourselves. So I'm so glad that you do look after yourself and you go out and spend time with family and friends. So what would be some practical tips for the audience to incorporate to manage their business and their health?
Okay, so let me have a look at my little notes here because I keep going off because I made notes for myself. So manage time and manage stress. So, like we said, small business owner, it's very, very difficult. Women think that they have to do everything. Women think that everything's, got to be done now. So, take time out. Unless it's life or death, it can usually wait. If something's going to happen a little bit late, if you haven't got back to an email or you're you need to have some time out, or a label wasn't right. And, that can sometimes wait till the next day, and you can go, it's all right. I've worked out now, I processed that, and we're just going to do that again. Or, actually I can't do everything. So practical tip, I'm going to delegate to people that can do it. I'm going to hire out people that can do different things. So I don't feel as though I have to be doing everything and it's taking all this stress and time. I'm certain that the reason I got breast cancer was from stress. Like, I'm certain I wasn't looking after myself when I started the business, and I found it very stressful because I made lots of different mistakes in the journey. And so stress is so important, and women being able to manage that, and then, not do everything. So, part of with not doing everything and delegating and realising that I'm not superwoman, which is what women need to remember, because there's such a thing that we feel we have to be, building that community around you as well. So, I knew as a small business owner, I knew that I couldn't work out so many different things. I don't know how to do social media. I don't know, I don't know all the different stores. I don't know, A, B, and C. But if I got connected to and had really valuable relationships with people that did know this stuff and could do it, and even people that knew all about additives, and people that knew all about toxins and knew all about healthy ingredients, like if they knew about EveryMite, they would help me spread the word, and they would help me in getting that product out there from their love of it and information as well. So
what amazing.
Delegate, community is so important, and mental health is so important as well.
What amazing tips. I love it. And you've simplified it so easily. Community, absolutely important. Simplify things, delegate, and, look after yourself with your stress. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So where to from here, Cinnamon? What's happening? Other products, ideas, what else is on the horizon out there for you?
Well, it's taken me years. So basically, like I said, I made EveryMite for Willie, for our little boy. I made so many other things at the same time. EveryMite was the most in need. I could see people needed that, and it was. I'd established it was a good, safe product. I established that, I could get it out there. So, that was my first one, was although that's my baby right there. And so now I'm working on all the other stuff that I do. So, because, we need to have, additive free, we need to have low tox, we need to have as clean as possible, and everything needs to be tasty. So it has to taste good, because that's, a key thing for kids with wanting to eat, different things and try different things. So basically I've now started a range called EveryOrganics. So EveryMite is now going to be part of a range called EveryOrganics. And that's going to be my overarching range. And so my goal for it is to help provide people with nourishing products for inside and outside the body. So inside and out. So I make all our own body products, because, what goes onto your skin is absolutely vital. And you don't want junk on that. So, I make all my own body products. We're doing some smoked salts. I've always done different herbs and spices. So I always used to make my own herbs and spices to add into foods, because there was different things that Willie wouldn't eat, and I knew that there was medicinal benefits from having different things. So now I'm starting to, even though I've been doing them for years, I'm now starting to bring those out to market. I've had a challenge. Yeah, we've had a really challenging few years. So, I started the business off a whim. I actually had my younger brother died a year after I started the business, suddenly of a drug overdose. It was really horrific. And so my first year of business, that happened. I think my second year of business, I then got breast cancer. Then I got it again the next year. And then we've had times where our son has almost been dead in hospital. Like it's like in the early stages, the journey around his gut and his health and what he needed was life or death at different times. So my business journey has been very long as a result. So I have many friends that started at a similar time, and they've got like 30 products out there, and they've got the products overseas, and I literally haven't had capacity. I've just gone little steps, be safe, do what you can manage. The world's not going to end. And so it's so important for people in small business. It's so, so important. So I guess where to now is me finally having a bit of capacity now to bring out all these other beautiful things that I love and make. And then also, I tried to do it last year too, but didn't get there. Focus on overseas. I have customers over in New Zealand that I send to. I have people that take it over to Europe. Like I've got people that buy it and send it to Europe and to their families, or take it over when they go over there on holidays. Obviously not over COVID. But, people in the UK have said, oh, my God, my daughter sent me your product.
Wow.
It needs to get over here. And I'm like, I know. I'm getting there. I'm trying. I just take a little bit longer because I take little steps.
I love it. No,
I take
brilliant.
little safe steps. So
It's brilliant. It's brilliant advice that, you've provided us with, and little steps. And I look forward to the whole range coming out and slowly.
Nice.
And such an amazing product that you already have there. So you just imagine how amazing the follow-up products will be. And the thing is also it's worth waiting for if individuals have food intolerances or skin intolerances or whatever may be happening. It's definitely worth waiting for to get the right product out, because yourself how detrimental that one little bite of something can be. So hold up, people. We've got it coming. Cinnamon's working hard for us whilst also looking after herself. So to finish off, I ask all my guests on the Natural podcast, what is your best kept natural health hack that you may do every day, once a month, once a year, something that you do that just really gets you to be the healthiest, optimal version of yourself?
Okay. This one I had to put a little bit of thought into. So, there's so many things so many things you could say. And I've got two things here. So two hacks. We've sort of talked about them today, but I just really need to reiterate on them because they're so important. Healthy swaps. So a food hack is check a label once a week. Check an ingredient once a week. Double make sure. I've been doing this for 8 years, and still when I'm in a hurry, I'll pick a product and then I'll have it out and with my girlfriends, and they'll say, oh, wow, you bought this one. Oh, it must be really good. I was like, didn't even look. And they're like, oh, wait a minute, it's got A, B, and C in it. I'm like, oh my God, I made the mistake. So one of my hacks is to just once a week, either try, look at one thing that you've got in the cupboard or in the fridge that you shouldn't have, that doesn't agree with you personally, or you don't want to personally have in your life, and try and see what else you can swap it for. If you feel you've done all that, then start, maybe once a week looking at a different ingredient, just to double check and remind yourself in terms of, have I always got it right? Because that one ingredient can actually make a significant difference in your life. And we all make mistakes, and we all don't. We're all in a hurry sometimes, and we all go for quick options, and we all just go, oh, this will be okay. And then when you actually look at it, you go, oh, darn, that's not going to be okay. Maybe that's why A, B, and C. Maybe that's why he's had a sore tummy. Maybe that's why. And then the other thing I wanted to say to people was know your body. I have so many people that say to me, oh, God, how did you go through this journey? And, we're only started the journey. Just tell me what you did, and I'll do the detox. You tell me what you did around aluminium. So for example, we gave our son when we had too much, when we had a very strict diet, we discovered there was like one fish he could safely eat that was gluten-free, with a gluten-free thing. Gave it to him every day because we didn't know what else to give him, and we gave him mercury poisoning. Suddenly his brain just went, and this is just like the bizarre thing, like I would have never believed it if I didn't see it. So suddenly his brain degenerated. He couldn't toilet himself. He couldn't talk. His tongue was hanging out. He literally, he just degenerated. And we go to the doctor and we're like, what is going on? I don't understand. And he does the testing and he's like, look, the mercury levels, what have you been feeding him? Oh, shivers, this. Which fish is it? Oh, I don't know. It was just a fish that it said gluten-free. Well, go have a look what fish it was. And it was a fish that, it was I don't know, hokey. So it was a small fish that he couldn't eat because it's likely to have higher levels of mercury. So, you know, like, so, and then I've said, friends have said to me, well, you know, my husband's got Alzheimer's, you know, my husband's going towards dementia. How do we look at that, you know, preventing these things, neurodegeneration? And, you know, aluminium is one of those things, pulling toxicity out, pulling mercury out. They're like, tell me how to do it. I'm like, no, you need to get a hair analysis done. So you know what is in your body and what is therefore what you need to detox from your body and what you need. So, you know, there's so many different detoxes out there. There's so many different things that you need for different food that you need to move out of your system. You know, there's different ways that you have to do it. So know your body, get microbiome testing, get blood testing, get microbiome testing, get genetic testing, get hair analysis. You know, the amount of stool testing we've done and people go, oh my God, you're doing poo testing. And we're like, yeah, it's so important because that's how you actually know what's going on in your body and what's wrong and what you need to target fixing.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So they're my two things. Like,
I love that.
You know, swap things out, read the ingredients, and know your body so you can actually target what you need to do.
Yeah.
Everyone's got all these hack this, hack that. This will help for everybody. You know, but you might be targeting the wrong thing.
100%. No, I love it. Understanding your body, analyzing what's happening inside, and then, you know, personalizing it to yourself is absolutely key. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm so blessed to have you on the podcast, Cinnamon. It's been an absolute delight. I'm going to shoot down the details of EveryMite and also EveryOrganics, and people can contact you if they have any questions. So I'll put that all in the show notes. Is there anything else that you want to say before we close up for today?
I guess I just wanted to say thank you. You know, like for me, that's gone through such a significant health journey and had so many complexities and spoken to so many different people who struggle out there. You know, thank you for being one of the people out there that assists us all to learn more, to understand more, to know what's out there. You know, without you as part of my community and you know, and other, you know, like I wouldn't have learned so much. I wouldn't know so much. So the important thing that we're doing today and the important thing that you do around educating others is so vital. And I'm so passionate about it because I would never, ever be where I am now if I didn't have people I could listen to like you or even other mums that have been through this to actually say, God, what happened when you did A, B and C or what was this like for you or do you know about this? So thank you. Thanks for doing everything fantastic that you do.
Thank you so much, Cinnamon. I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you. And this platform is here to provide information so individuals can reach optimal health, of course. So I do really appreciate it. And thank you for joining us on the Natural Health Podcast. And remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health. content and information provided here is opinion of Mahela Raguse and is for information purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is not intended to provide medical advice or take the place of medical advice or any current treatment you're undertaking. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mahela Raguse does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. And in the circumstances shall the Natural Podcast, Mahela Raguse, any guests or contributors to the Natural Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mahela Raguse be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting your doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mahela Raguse nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in the educational content.